Oh no, Seanny, I'm already silly.
We're starting off silly, and isn't it the best episode to be silly on, though?
There's a lot of very serious issues to tackle on this. A minority group gets imprisoned.
Oh no, not the minority group.
Emphasis on minority.
I'm so excited to tell. Oh no.
Oh no, I have
Beth.
got us cancelled.
Without the man you go and play. You got this thing of humanity. Just go, eX-Men. We play shit in time. Just go, you die. Systems is final death. Now we're eX-Men.
Hello, flat scans, and welcome to the eX-Men. We are the next stage in human evolution, two trans women exploring the X-Men. My name is Elizabeth Seymour, but you can call me Beth.
I'm Seanny Kirkpatrick, and you can call me Seanny. I wasn't ready to be full named right then.
Well, Seanny, before we got on recording, decided to be like, hello, Elizabeth, and I'm running with it.
I did. It was more like you were in trouble. I did. It was more like you were in trouble. Elizabeth Veronica Seymour.
People are going to be like coming for my tax file number and stuff now because you've given my middle name and everything. It's not like it's on all my APRA songwriting credits or anything.
It's all there. Go nuts, people.
It's a very special day today, Seanny. When this comes out, it won't be that special, but what has just started today?
It is, of course, the week of trans awareness.
Are you aware of trans people?
Well, I am now. Since becoming one, I've become chronically more aware, I would say.
This pod is kind of my first exposure, but I like them.
You're enjoying the week so far?
May I tell a story?
Please.
Years ago, before I was out, I was getting an Uber home, and I was tired. It was late at night, and you know when you get a really chatty Uber driver?
Oh, yeah.
And he just kept, my eyes are shut. I'm trying to fall asleep. And he's asking me all these questions. Like, a lot of them were very misogynistic. Like, oh, how do you know a girl likes you and not your money? Like, whatever. And at one point, he just goes to me, and what do you think of the LGBT? And in that moment, I'm half asleep. All I could think to say was, I like him. I like him.
Fan.
And I continue to like them, so...
And that was when you knew for sure.
That was when.
That was the
Certainly
moment.
Certainly not a decade before that, and I'm a real procrastinator.
God, we are both procrastinators when it came to that. But thank God that we're finally here now.
And that's it. And we're not procrastinating with the X-Men at all. We're flying through them. Fit check time. What are you wearing?
Well, in honor of the location that we're going to in this week's episode, I had to have my almost Irish flag colours. If the black was orange, we would be there. But this is also the only thing I own with a bit of green in it.
Well, it's all right. It's not St. Paddy's Day. I won't dob you in.
Thank you. You won't pinch me?
Well, you are wearing green, so I couldn't anyway.
Yeah, that's the law.
I've got a little green on my shirt too.
I saw that as well. I wondered whether that was intentional or you're just feeling like a little tennis chic.
It was not intentional. This is my pink polo shirt. We are currently working on songs for the second Hormones album, and there is a song about this shirt called Pink Polo Shirt.
Oh my gosh! Yes!
And it's about when you can finally present femme at work. So this shirt, when that album drops, it's going to be famous to the however many people listen to Hormones.
Incredible, which is every one of our listeners, of course.
Of course. When this episode drops, I think I might be in Tasmania when this comes out.
I think you might be. Yeah, you'll be living it up.
In Tasmania, living it up because I am playing at the Hobofopo Folk Punk Festival down there. Over the weekend of the 28th to 30th of November. But November 28th is also our album release date. Beth Seymour and the Lizzies' second album, Outside You'd Love Me to Death, is coming out November 28th, which may or may not have passed by the time you see this episode. But if it has, listen to it. It is one of the top 2 Beth Seymour and the Lizzies albums.
It really is. I have had the privilege of hearing it. And let me just say, like, it's incredible. Y'all, I'm so excited for you all to hear it.
I like that you're like, I've heard it as if you're not in the band. I know you didn't play on it, but of course you've heard it.
I know, but I still feel naughty.
Yeah, it's true. I got to get you to work. I got to get you in the studio. Seanny joined after recording. Oh, if only we had 1,000 projects to work on.
I know. You know what? We should start a few more projects.
But first, I think we should focus on this episode of the pod, which is a very important project to both of us. Without further ado, last week's episode, we had a very long check-in. Today, we're going to behave. We're going to save the silliness for the episode. This is a very serious couple of issues about very plausible and believable events in the life of Sean Cassidy. Let's kick into this synopsis, baby. Starting off with X-Men 101. It's like we're going to school. I'm learning all about the X-Men in X-Men 101.
And I literally am. This is my X-Men 101.
Oh, I'm having so much fun, but let's do this synopsis. When we last left our heroes, it was a very dramatic issue, wasn't it, Shorty?
Oh, yeah.
They were flying through space, having emotional turmoil. Will Jean survive, bringing them back to Earth? And will Scott live with this pain of watching his love of his life go through all this? What a shame that this whole thing's going to be resolved in half an issue.
If that.
But at least it's all going to get picked up later.
Yeah, when we got left off and you said it was going to be resolved very quickly in the next issue, I was ready for a real Batman 60s show of like, oh, in the first 30 seconds, we'll explain it away and you'll never hear from it again. We get a few of those nice little juicy Claremont seeds being planted for future events.
Shorty, even as somebody who hasn't read the X-Men comics before, you're painfully aware of where Phoenix goes. We all are. It's not going to end well for anybody, but now I'm for real starting the synopsis. In X-Men 101, it's our mutant heroes' hour of maximum peril. Enter the Phoenix. When we last left our merry mutants.
Sorry.
Now you're silly. When we last left our merry mutants, Jean Grey was tasked with flying the team back to Earth alone as she guided their shuttle through a deadly solar storm. Tearing back into the Earth's atmosphere, the shuttle crash lands on the tarmac of Kennedy Airport that the X-Men had previously pulverized just a few issues prior and skids across the tarmac into Jamaica Bay, where our heroes surface in the sea. All are accounted for except Jean, who suddenly bursts from the water in a new costume, declaring, "No longer am I the woman you knew. I am fire and life incarnate. Now and forever, I am Phoenix." I have had that speech memorized since I was a teenager.
Oh, wow. I'm amazed it hasn't made its way into a song.
Oh, what a moment. I used to have this little like X-Men t-shirt with like random X-Men all over it. It's just like Jean Grey, like right up this side of it with the speech bubble that said, "I am fire and life incarnate." So cool.
Hell yeah. That's hard.
Yeah. She concludes her dramatic return by feigning from psychic exhaustion and landing back in the sea. When we next see our mutants, Logan arrives at the hospital waiting room with flowers for Jean. But apparently no one on the team told him they were all arriving earlier, as everyone else is already there.
I can't believe her boyfriend is here when she's in hospital.
And all her dear friends. And not me, a guy who she constantly argues with. The team waits to hear from the doctors as Scott sits alone, lost in his own thoughts of pain and angst. The doctors inform the team that Jean is going to be fine, and they all celebrate, apart from Cyclops, who quietly moves to Jean's side at the hospital bed and cries in relief. Dr. McKay informs the X-Men that, with proper care and friends to look after her, Miss Grey is going to be just fine. So Chuck immediately sends all her friends on an enforced vacation far away from her.
Chuck is obsessed with vacations.
She needs her friends around her to recover. Get him out of here. Meanwhile, Sean produces a letter from his pocket and informs the team that he has inherited the Cassidy family's ancestral home in Ireland and they can vacay there.
Hell
Landing
yeah.
in Ireland, the team arrive at Cassidy Keep, where a young Banshee had spent his youth. What better place to raise a young boyo than a 1,000-year-old castle? that's been up since, what, the Norman era?
It looks to be, yeah.
Somewhere deep in the castle, the mysterious Black Tom Cassidy, as seen last issue, commands one Eamon O'Donnell, steward of the house, to greet them as if nothing is wrong. He shows the team to their rooms, and Storm is instantly not enamored with the castle as it triggers her claustrophobia. The group are preparing for a formal dinner, and I have a lot to say about the formal dinner outfits.
Oh, yeah.
When in the halls of the keep, the ground falls out from under them, and they find themselves face to face with not only Black Tom Cassidy, but the Professor's evil half-brother, Kane Marco, the Juggernaut.
Yay, Juggy's here.
As Tom informs the X-Men that the dungeons of Cassidy Crag will be their tomb, Storm bursts into a panic scream as the text asks us, next issue, who shall stop the Juggernaut?
Oh, no.
And that's just our first issue.
Spoiler, no one stops the Juggernaut, at least not in the next issue.
It's a whole thing. You got to outthink him,
And
which admittedly isn't hard. He's dumb as a bag of rocks, but that's what we love him for.
sorry, I know I'm jumping in now. Was the Juggernaut previously introduced in a comic before this one?
Yeah, he was in the original 60s run, and the entire backstory of who he is and how he got his powers and his relationship with Chuck, it's all in those 60s issues. For complete backstory on Juggernaut, see my TikTok video, Is Juggernaut an Ally? Always directing people to the TikTok. We should have commented on how we blew up.
Yes, and it was all because of our boy Alex Summers.
Don't call him my boy. I'm going to slap that boy silly if I see him.
And now every time you see him again, you'll be like, damn, the boy who blew me up.
I'm going to blow him up.
It was your hatred of him, your want to blow him up that blew us up.
So hello to all our new subscribers who followed because we hate Havoc.
Hello.
And with that, we got 2 more issues to summarize that do not feature Alex Summers once. Thank
Happy
God.
days. Let's get into 102.
X-Men 102 opens with the Juggernaut laying waste to our heroes as the team's powerhouse, Storm, lies distraught in the corner of the dungeons of Cassidy Crag. Meanwhile, Banshee tears away from the main threat to deal with his evil cousin. While his powers can't harm Black Tom, a good old-fashioned punch to the jaw can. No matter what the X-Men try, they cannot stop the Juggernaut. As Kurt pleads with Aurora to snap out of it, Juggernaut tears after him, leaving Aurora lost in her thoughts. A flashback to her childhood, where in Cairo during the 1956 Suez Crisis, a plane loaded with bombs and fuel crashed straight into her family home, killing her parents and leaving her trapped in the rubble. When she finally pulled herself free, her parents' bodies were gone, and she was left to make a new life on the streets of Cairo as a beggar and thief. This is a whole, 6-page, just backstory of Storm we get in the middle of a fight, and I love it.
Yeah, I've got a lot to say about this backstory.
Across the ocean, Xavier hears Storm's anguished cries through the telepathic report he shares with his students. Unwanted surveillance, and discovers that the X-Men are facing off with his hated stepbrother, as he rudely drags Scott away from his wife's side as she is trying to introduce her new roommate, Misty Knight, to them. Jean asks Missy how she would feel if she had died and then brought herself back to life.
Yeah, and we get a real sinister face when she says that.
Yeah, we get one whole panel of Phoenix in this issue. Little green trim around it too.
Yes.
Scott refuses the Professor's demands that he go join the X-Men in Ireland. Xavier calls him an ungrateful, unspeakable cur, until his mind is once again touched by the mysterious face from his dreams, now clearer than ever.
Yes.
Back at Cassidy Keep, the battle rages on as Kurt manages to hurt Juggernaut by flinging a lit candle at him. Unstoppable, but a lit candle, that does it.
He's one weakness.
He is struck... Kurt is struck from behind by a blast from Black Tom's staff, and he falls into the shadows where 2 leprechauns emerge from the wall and drag him away. As Sean battles Tom, his cousin tells him that he is asking the wrong questions. What Sean should be asking is, who paid us to kill the X-Men? Banshee is knocked unconscious as the Juggernaut bests Storm and Colossus, leaving our villains victorious. All right, I'm going to not dilly-dally. I've been a bit naughty in this episode.
You dropped Leprechaun. I am a bubbling cauldron of things to say now, so Let's get into the
lucky
next
there's
one.
so many leprechauns in this upcoming third issue. And then we can get down into our ups, downs, and X's, which I think they're all about leprechauns. X-Men 103 opens with the best splash page I've ever seen. 7 leprechauns, count them, 7, carrying an unconscious Nightcrawler through the stone corridors led by torchlight. Kurt awakens amongst those who Banshee calls the little ones, who reveal that Tom and Juggernaut have taken their families hostage under the orders of Eric the Red to assure Eamon's assistance in killing Banshee and the X-Men. One of the leprechauns charges into the room, revealing that Black Tom has taken the X-Men to the laboratory. Why does Cassidy Keep have a laboratory in this, I want to say, gothic castle? I don't know. And he plans to torture them there. Somehow, they have vastly superior technology to imprison the X-Men here than Dr. Lang did previously, possibly thanks to Eric the Red. Kurt listens in on Tom and Kane's conversation and learns that it's Xavier that they want. So he uses his image inducer to impersonate him and teleports into the lab.
Great scene.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. As he avoids the villains, Juggernaut takes a swing at him that breaks through the wall of the castle, revealing the outside sky to Storm. The goddess is back.
Yeah.
She sets a hurricane loose with her powers and tears the X-Men free of their shackles. Banshee is snatched out of the air by Juggernaut and carried to the top of the castle's battlements, where the villains threaten to throw him off. The X-Men make for the top of the tower as the worst Atlantic gale in living memory rages around them. Kurt sneaks to the top of the tower, unseen in the shadows, and breaks Banshee free from his bonds, while Tom reminds Sean that their mutant powers cancel each other out. So they do battle with sword and axe.
Very briefly.
Banshee manages to send Tom flying over the castle's edge and into the water below. Juggernaut cries out for the only friend he's ever had and dives into the ocean after him. They are swept away in the gale force surf, and when the sun returns, there is no sign of them. Our issue ends on Eric the Red, watching the battle on his screens as he is informed by a mysterious master that no more failures will be allowed, as Princess Neramani is due to reach Earth in a matter of weeks, and she must not be allowed to contact the X-Men. Eric tells his master to stress less, since he has employed the X-Men's oldest and deadliest foe, and that gentleman's name is Magneto.
Yes, Maggie's here.
The king has returned.
I can't believe in our very first episode 0, when you were asking me who my favorite X-Men were, I completely forgot to mention Magneto.
I could talk for days about how much I love him as a character, but we cannot get ahead of ourselves.
We'll save that for when he's here.
One panel of an issue that he's in a tiny, tiny little image. But let's rock. Let's get into it. Let's do the ups.
Woo!
Psycho Slim. Scott only snaps when it comes to Jean. And even though he's threatening the main character of the X-Men, Nightcrawler, I absolutely believe him when he says, "Get in my way this time, Nightcrawler, and I'll kill you." This is when Jean's still under the water, hasn't popped out of Jamaica Bay yet and revealed to be alive.
Yeah.
And just amazing. But it leads into this gorgeous panel of Jean bursting from the ocean and that beautifully insane text as she tells them that she's not the woman they knew. "I am fire and life incarnate. Now and forever, I am Phoenix."
And then the sickest metal riff starts playing in the background.
Immediate new name and costume. The X-Men, not nearly curious enough about it, but I guess Storm is changing her costume at will constantly. And Scott just brushes this off with there are more questions that we can handle right now. Creating a costume out of nothing, using powers she's never had before, the fact she's alive, I'll settle for that. Psycho Slim, 100 to 0, and like the second he knows Jean's okay.
He's a girlfriend boy.
What his love for her is so heart-wrenching, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because just his stress in the waiting room feels so palpable and real. And the facial illustrations and body language in that waiting room from Cockrum are amazing and expressive. And when he slips off while all the X-Men is separating to just cry on the bed, like,
oh my gosh, yes. When Nightcrawler checks in on him and he's just so emotional. And this is not something you'd expect in your like macho superhero comics from the 70s. Is this a sort of tonal thing that would have been common back then?
not really. Like, the soap opera aspect of the X-Men is what makes it really good. Like, I'd say other comics from this time kind of try and fail, but the soap opera aspect was the X-Men selling point. That's why this became the best-selling comic of, like, the 70s and 80s for Marvel. And it's because of that feeling for the characters.
Yeah, totally. Telling us that male vulnerability, you know what? It's a pretty cool thing. And
we love it when men have feelings.
We love when men have friends, and we love when men have feelings.
Give me an up, girlfriend.
Storm reveals she can change her clothes into anything at any time. X-Men World rules.
I just maybe assumed it was the unstable molecules. I think maybe it got mentioned in Giant Size, but this is just her.
Where's our unstable molecules? Where's our fit checks that can change 10 times in one episode?
I would be dangerous. You know what I'm like.
I know it would defeat the whole purpose of shopping, though. So is it a monkey paw situation?
That is true. I'm taking Seanny shopping on the weekend. It's like learning to box from Muhammad Ali.
Oh, I can't wait to float like a butterfly.
Yeah, I'm sure you're a great shopper. We just haven't done it together. Literally my favorite thing to do with one of my favorite people. It's going to be great.
Yay. All right, give me another up.
I got 2 words for you, girl. Cowboy Logan.
Yes!
We have only very briefly seen Logan's face in underwear in the Stephen Lang issues, and now we're finally seeing street clothes for him. And he is always dressed like a cowboy. The scene where he's getting the flowers for Jean and heading to the hospital, everything he's wearing is denim. It's all denim with the cowboy hat. And then when they're at the castle, the formal fit is also a complete cowboy dress clothes, complete with bolo tie.
Yes, he's got his little polo. Oh.
The X-Men's casual style is dripped out. I don't think we're giving Cockrum enough credit for this, even though we spoke about it at length in the Christmas section last time. And Peter's in the waiting room wearing like a turtleneck.
Yeah.
Everyone getting dressed up for dinner at the castle, looking gorgeous. Storm Rock wearing the kimono and revealing this gorgeous red gown beneath it. Sean being like, oh, you got to get dressed up, but me, I'm the lord of the manor. I can just wear my little potato farmer hat.
I'm dressing like a stable hand.
Is that offensive, potato farmer? I don't know. You're Irish. Tell me.
It's very offensive, but luckily, you know me, so you're okay.
Oh, okay. I get the pass.
I'm wearing this like Irish crown as if I'm the Princess of Ireland, as if my blood isn't diluted from like 100 generations of being Australian.
That's like man talking about how I'm Italian. All I really know how to say is things like va via. It's just like, go away.
Well, that's nice. I've heard you say ciao, Bella.
Oh, don't spill the tea on that. It is on the end of the La Familia record. The last track of the first La Familia record. I say ciao, Bella on that one.
Okay, well, very important. As you know, La Familia is responsible for the X-Men theme. Our X-Men theme, not the X-Men theme from, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. You got another up for me?
Yes. So in everyone's getting like ready for this fancy dinner. Storm's having like a little bit of a moment because she's dealing with all the claustrophobia of being in the castle. And Nightcrawler, of course, he's going to jump on the opportunity to flirt with a lady. But the way he does it is changing from Clark Gable saying a little line to Fred Astaire saying a little line and then to Groucho Marx.
Oh, that killed me.
Just to be like, oh, what kind of man do you like? And he makes her laugh. The first time I've ever seen Storm laugh ever. And because I think he can tell that she's like kind of upset and she needs a little relief. This feels more like a moment of like him trying to comfort his friend.
They're really trying to like develop his empathy, right? He's always the one who checks in on Scott.
Yeah.
He's the one who on the spaceship is like, oh, we're having a good time. That's who he is. And that's why we love him.
That's it. And his choice of who he becomes, which is someone who is handsome, funny, and just a little bit fruity. You watch out, boyfriend draft.
I feel like you stop that. I want him. I feel like his knowledge of movies ends, like when black and white movies stop being made.
Literally.
As soon as color film comes in, he's like, sorry, gang, I don't know any of these movie stars.
Yeah, which is going to be helpful for him getting around as Errol Flynn constantly, I guess.
He's never heard of Jeff or Bo Bridges.
Or Bo Bridges.
They were around in the 70s, right?
Yeah. When was the Fabulous Baker Boys? I think that was nice.
I don't know what that is.
That's the only movie I've seen them both in at the same time. They play brothers.
That was. They're real life brothers, right?
They are, yeah.
Okay, now I got worried if they just maybe like, Tom Cruise and Penelope Cruz kind of thing.
Wow, I've never thought of that. Damn, I would have assumed they were
just
related.
both their names were Cruz, but
That's it.
my God. Unhinged. Storm's development in this issue, in this whole story is just really, really great because we get little so they start putting down a little breadcrumb trail like issues ago with her claustrophobia, and it comes to a head here. And because she's been established to be so unstoppably powerful that it makes sense to give something that's like a hurdle for her to overcome, so they can't just solve every storyline with Storm doing something insanely powerful.
Yes.
This is not going to last forever, and it shouldn't. But for now, it's good added drama, and it's that thing Claremont does in the few pages of backstory about her that we get, that every character has a name and a story that he's plotted it all out in his head.
Yeah.
But we just don't know it all. And I just want to know more about all these characters. About her father, who's this American photographer who married who he calls an African princess. And then they get caught up in the Suez Crisis.
Yeah.
They move from Harlem to Cairo. She goes to the Serengeti. All in the space of a few pages. Every character has a name. David and Nadari Monroe, Ahmed El-Jabbar, the leader of the back alley thieves. And he's
a little Fagin to a little Oliver Twist moment.
He's in one panel, but he's got a name and a character design.
Yeah.
And bonus points to Claremont for mentioning Israel for once and not getting real Zionist with it. So that's not going to last forever, but we'll call it out when we get to it.
Let's revel in this moment right here and know that it always existed.
Yeah, look, I'm not super well informed on the Suez Crisis.
In the lead up to this episode, Beth was messaging me saying like, never thought I'd have to research the Suez War in anticipation of an X-Men episode, but here we are. But thankfully, Chris Claremont does give us like just a little summary of everything that was going on.
I decided to leave the history lesson out for the sake of fluency. Go look it up on Wikipedia. It's a major world event that we probably should pay more attention to.
For sure.
Like most things in history. So interesting that it's framed that way. Like when they do reprints of this story in the later classic X-Men run, which is where they reprinted these stories in the 80s, they drew and wrote new little character vignettes to go between these stories that fill in some of the gaps.
Oh, really?
Like stuff like, okay, how is Storm and Jean suddenly really close friends? And we should go back eventually and read those vignettes because I've never read them.
Wow.
And I think that'd be really, really great. But in those reprints, they just change Suez Crisis to a nondescript military incident. So
okay, interesting.
Let's get another up going.
Our main character of the X-Men, we get some really fun Kurt moments in 103. Not least of which is him starting the issue being carried unconscious by many leprechauns.
Oh my god, I want to talk about this panel so much.
Me too. Me too. I think a lot of the leprechaun discourse is unfortunately in my X's, so I have to wait a little bit. But during this whole sequence, he discovers he can turn invisible in the shadows.
This is his most underutilized power. People forget that he has this power.
Did he forget that he had it, or was it because he got zapped by Black Tom's magic rod that it got unlocked?
I don't know that never occurred to me, but I remember him using this power in old issues of Excalibur, because you know I love Excalibur. But it's crazy that he's never noticed he has a power.
Well, yeah,
Like-
and they sort of call out the lampshade. It's like, also, your face is always in shadows. And I was like, oh, I just thought they drew him that way for some drama. But if this is how he looks in the real life...
But his eyes, you can see his eyes.
You can see his eyes, that's right. In addition to getting this cool new power, he also pretends to be Professor Xavier and tricks Tom and Juggernaut. And we see Xavier doing acrobatic flips while he's like roasting them. It's a really, really fun moment. And I'm so glad that it's from the main character.
What I love about Kurt's impersonation of Xavier here is that it so neatly uses the already established technology of the image inducer that
Yes!
I don't know if they were planning this for ages or it conveniently popped up, but even though it's silly, it doesn't seem comic booky.
No, and it's like, had to give it credit because we got that moment earlier where he's like cheering up Storm, reminding everyone of the image inducer, being like, whoa, look, it doesn't just turn me into Errol Flynn. I can be anyone I want to be. And I love when something that's going to come back into play later is used in a way that if it didn't, it would still be a great scene because it's just a nice character moment. But because that's fresh in our brain, it made me connect it more and be like, okay, that's what he's done.
And it makes Kane so mad. He hates his brother so much that the mention of Charles gets his blood boiling. He knows immediately, really, deep down that it's not Charles, and he doesn't care. He just wants to hurt anything that reminds him of his stepbrother to the point where he punches right through the wall, and that's another great moment for Storm.
Yeah.
That little glimmer of sky being what sets her free.
Yeah.
What were her restraints doing if the second she sees Sky, she's set free?
Fine.
But
I guess she spent the last issue and a half completely traumatized in the corner of a room. Maybe they thought, just put the baby restraints on her. We're not going to need much.
yeah, but it all comes back around to like everything we established with Storm too. Like the claustrophobia pays off when she sees the sky.
Yeah.
The one panel of her being a street thief comes back into play because she can unpick the shackles on Wolverine's feet with her lockpicks.
This was technically in my X's, but I guess lucky that they used the same technology in these high-tech foot restraints as whatever she was dealing with back in Cairo.
She always has lockpicks in her headdress. That's where she keeps them.
Really? Wow. Well, I'm excited to see her pick more locks now that we know.
It's an established thing for Storm, but getting back to the Leprechauns.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about that opening panel, all right? These Leprechauns freaking kill me. They're just having a full conversation while they're carrying unconscious Nightcrawler. Claremont's given them all Irish names. Like, one of them is called Porrick. Like, and I know that from Banshees of Inisherin. And you just know he's cooked up a backstory for each one of these leprechauns, given them all a personality and a role in the leprechaun society. Nightcrawler waking up and saying leprechauns are impossible is a bit rich. Thank you very much.
He's immediately not like, some small people. Just, leprechauns. Of course, I'm in Ireland. That must be who they are.
Another one for me?
Look, we talked about it before. Storm just overcoming her claustrophobia when she sees the sky, the happiness in her face when she's flying around again. We get a little moment where like Wolverine and Colossus, I think, are talking to each other. And in the background, Storm's just doing like happy little flips in the
little
air.
twirls in the air.
It's so cute. It's so cute. We get such vulnerability from Storm across these 3 issues. including that little moment. So I really liked that.
Well, it makes somebody who's been depicted as a goddess finally feel human, and giving her that backstory of kind of how she became the goddess, it helps us connect with her when she kind of seems like this otherworldly, I don't know, like Thor type character.
And when we got that moment of her last issue in space, realizing she can also be Storm in space, and you talked about power creep then, it did get me thinking, like, when are they going to, like, put a little roof on this so that she isn't just the solution to every single problem?
Yeah, and it makes sense to do it that way. So, as much as I don't like Peter, I've got to talk about the fact that he has a personality now.
Yeah, you come around to my boy.
Oh, he's all yours. Just little downtime scenes, right? We leave the hospital. We're in Ireland. They're driving in the car, and Peter calls it a torture chamber on the drive to the castle. And Sean's like, "Is that a joke, you cracking Peter Rasputin? With wonders never cease." Now I'm doing accents.
Yay.
I'm getting us cancelled in Ireland. But then Peter fussing over Storm leads to Logan kind of calling him out for it, which makes Colossus arm drag him into the Juggernaut. And I love those little extra character moments of bickering in the heat of battle, because if this is later in the X-Men's run, it seems forced, but now they still don't fully get along yet, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But Peter's showing a personality, because Logan later, it's in the third issue, I think, he goes, "The broad's gone, flaky." Peter tells him, "Do not call her a broad again." He's always, his whole personality is being aggressively protective of women who don't need it. But he tells him, "Don't call her a broad again, shorty."
Yeah, shorty!
It's a lame insult, but it's like, it's the most we're getting from him.
That's the most vitriolic we've ever seen, Peter.
When Logan does call her a broad again, Peter yeets him through the air to the other side of the castle.
Forced fastball special.
It takes a leprechaun to bring him back to the battle. Brilliant.
This is Wolverine's first time encountering a leprechaun as well.
I feel like I got to touch on Tom and Kane, because weird pairing. Let's run with it. Not explained. But this pairing's eternal.
Really?
Friends forever.
Wow.
They have some pretty insane fallings out. Let's not talk about Chuck Austin's run on X-Men. I'm going to relish in the fact we got decades before we get to that. But it's so bad that it almost loops around into being amazing again.
Okay.
They capture all the X-Men, and they have all the X-Men in a specific trap in this laboratory to them. Peter's suspended in the air. Banshee's got a mouth brace on. Logan's limbs are chained up. But the existence of this laboratory in the castle is really silly. I'm pinning it on Eric the Red, but the leprechauns refer to it as if it's just a normal part of the castle.
They do.
All the while, Tom and Kane are just like bantering back and forth and like talking about like what their goals are, as if they've done this for years. And they've got a really weird kind of chemistry and understanding of each other. You know, Juggernaut just wants to hurt Charles, and he just wants to hurt the X-Men. He wants to kill them. And Tom's like, "No, I'm going to use the neuronic tangler glove," something that could only exist in comics.
Of course,
that it exploits the psychic rapport to harm Xavier. It's a great piece of villainy. But all of this, I'm jumping around a lot of stuff with these guys because it's all very confusing. It leads to the fact that Juggernaut loves Tom so much that instead of killing the X-Men and hurting his brother, the thing he's wanted all along, the thing they were using the neuronic tangler glove for, he just throws himself into the ocean to protect the only friend he's ever had. It's insane, and I love it.
It's wild. Yeah, Black Tom is launched over into the ocean by Banshee, and Juggernaut just comes running in after him immediately.
You know what? That fight between Sean and Tom with the medieval weaponry is a lot of fun, isn't it?
It's so cool. When it started happening, I was so excited. Unfortunately, 3 panels later, Black Tom crushes Banshee's sword with his axe. But what a 3-panel.
It's giving the non-sci-fi Warhammer that you were telling me about.
The fantasy Warhammer. Beth, here's a little Warhammer lesson. When it's fantasy Warhammer, it's called Warhammer. When it's sci-fi Warhammer, it's called 40K.
So I've already got us cancelled in Ireland. I'm getting us cancelled in the trans community because I don't know anything about Warhammer.
Yeah, you were on thin ice with not playing Zelda.
Oh, look, I had so many ups, and I know the ups went for ages. I'm ready for the downs if you are.
I'm ready. Let's get down.
Elephant in the room. We got to address the fact that Jean's heroic sacrifice that we built up and made me cry at the end of issue 100. We get her bursting from the water. It's incredible. A few pages later, we're told she's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's built into a bigger story.
Yeah.
But this old school comic style doesn't really help us feel the pain that the X-Men are feeling with what she's going through when we move it so fast.
Exactly. Yeah, completely agree.
And that brings me to the Chuck of it all.
Oh, Chuck, you are doing yourselves no favors, buddy.
He openly admits to Moira that he was once in love with Jean, a child in his care.
Oh,
this is
God, yeah.
It's a reference to a one-off thought balloon in X-Men issue number 3. And it was like a thought balloon, a random thought balloon of him being like, how can I ever tell her how I really feel or something like that. And it has come up again and been important later, but it just establishes him as being a gross older man. In the early issues, his age is unclear, but she's a child in his care. Why is he telling Moira, who is seemingly also one of his exes, as we've inferred, this girl I once loved as much as you? Like, the X-Men have got to be like, I swear to God, they're probably, 19, 20 years old here? Foul. Just foul.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of complaints about Chuck right now, if you will indulge me.
Lay him out, because I'm with you.
The doctor said Jean needs her friends around her. And so Chuck immediately sends them all away. He's obsessed with vacations and addicted to not looking after anyone's best interest. And Logan's understandably pissed. He says, we're not going anywhere. And Chuck just shouts him down and says that her recovery depends on the care and attention she receives. Basically saying that only he and Scott are good enough to look after her. Because he's giving abusive parent. And him having this psychic rapport with all the students so he can monitor them 24/7. Creepy vibes. It leaves them wide open to be exploited by the Juggernaut and Black Tom with the neuronic tangler glove. It doesn't even help the X-Men. They overcome this whole problem on their own. He refuses to see his students as their own autonomous people, which brings me to his greatest crime in this run of issues, and that's his abusive parent altercation with Scott. Because
I want to talk about this because I have questions to ask you once you're done.
It's a triggering thing to read because he's the one who sent the X-Men away. The one who said that Scott had to stay. Scott would give anything for Jean. He stayed for good reasons. And the second Scott stands up to him, he raises his hand to Scott and calls him an ungrateful, unspeakable cur. How dare you? I took you in. This few panels, like, it shook me to my core because people think it's like this modern interpretation that Charles is this bad person, but he's a bad person all along. And at the time, I don't think this is what Claremont or any other writers really intended. It's just the way things were written at the time. Like you watch old Doctor Who's and a Tom Baker calls Sarah Jane a stupid girl, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when you look at the culmination of everything that's happened in the few issues, you're like, this is a horrible person and I hate him.
It can't be read in any other way, especially these last few issues, that he's a really disappointing mentor. And it has made me a little bummed out because one of my favorite things from the movies was Patrick Stewart playing Charles as a sort of like regal, grounded, soft-spoken, understanding mentor figure that everyone rallied around. And I'm just not seeing any of that in this current run.
He is an absent father that will abuse you when he shows up.
Yeah. And then say he needs a vacation because he's been doing all the work.
Oh, obsessed with vacations. You are Petty Downs.
Yeah, I do. What you got?
What is Peter Corbeau's job? His title is Doctor of Science, but now he's a medical doctor in the operating room helping Dr. McKay.
I didn't even think of that.
PhD, Doctor of Science, Director of StarCorps. Where is MD?
When he did his doctoral study, it was just on the subject of everything. And also, Dr. Corbeau completely gets left with the blame of the shuttle crashing into the airport because the X-Men have been like, we already f***ed up this airport last adventure. We can't be seen doing this again. Corbeau, you cool to take all the blame about this and we'll just fade off in the distance while Charles does his Men in Black memory wipe on all these people?
Is it Kurt who says, would it help to say we're sorry?
Yes! Oh, my boy.
Real out of character moment for him, for a character who's like so compassionate that in the heat of battle when he's trying to get Storm focused, he's like, snap out of it, woman.
I didn't like that. I'm like, she's having a moment here. Come on. You've all had moments. She's saved your ass every single other issue.
That's just how they talk to women in the 70s, I guess.
Unfortunately.
Got another down for me?
Oh my God. I can't believe it's actually about Storm's backstory. I promise I like it. I promise I do. You know what? It is because I find it so fascinating. We get a summary of everything from when she was a baby in America to a young girl in Egypt, then the finest beggar / sneak thief in all of Cairo, her pilgrimage to Kenya, and then suddenly we jump forward to her first meeting Xavier, completely bypassing the most interesting bit to me, which is arguably when her powers started manifesting.
Well, what do you want to know? She got naked and she hid in the top of a mountain and people came and asked her to rain on their crops. And she did that for 20 years?
Yeah, kinda. I want to and I'm sure in later issues, maybe this will be expanded on. And I just the most interesting part of a mutant storyline for me is when it first starts happening and the effect that it has on them. Because up until this point, it's just sort of Storm just being a child who just lost her parents and then being drawn to her birthplace, I guess, of Kenya. But just nothing about powers at all.
When, when I think about it, the manifestation of powers is like an inciting incident for an X-Man joining the team.
Yeah.
Isn't really that much of a thing in this era. It kind of becomes more of a trope later on, and I think we see it more with the young X-Men teams when they start to come in.
Yeah, right.
When we bring in, we'll see Kitty Pryde join the X-Men team, and we'll see the New Mutants start in the early 80s. And I think, that's just they didn't have that much interest in seeing powers start. Just they got the powers and let's run with it.
Yeah. I guess that's it.
I have so many questions about Tom and Kane's friendship.
Yeah.
Just serious lack of backstory as to why they're even friends. They have any kind of relationship. Fine, let's roll with it. Tom's fighting Banshee. He's like, Banshee, you sent me to jail for life. We hear nothing about why. Usually it'll come later. Except that this is not explained for decades.
Oh, wow.
We have no idea why Banshee sent Tom to jail. We have no idea why Tom and Kane are friends, what they went to prison for, and why Kane is literally willing to throw himself to potential death just to save Tom.
They have history. They love each other. We don't know why.
Christ.
I've got so much to say about the Black Tom of it all, but it's absolutely in my X's.
Great. I have one more down.
Give it to me.
The last panel is so weird. If we're going to tease Magneto, having him small and yellow on one of 3 TV screens is not the way to do it.
Of which there are 2 other kooky characters that I'm just as interested in.
Either tease it and don't show it, or give him a grand reveal.
Yeah, agreed. It was to the point that I just assumed that it wasn't Magneto on that screen because surely he would have gotten a grander reveal. It's Magneto. How long has it been since we've seen him in the context of the comics?
Not in the 70s run at all. Like, he's a very recurring villain in the 60s run. And I don't really know if he's a character who popped up in other comics in the X-Men's off-season. But this is their mortal enemy. All the things that we know about Magneto, like him being a Holocaust survivor and his established relationship with Charles and all that kind of stuff, that's not from the 60s run. That's going to start getting built later. For where we are right now, he's still the most notable X-Men villain. And it makes sense to, like, I don't know, ham it up a little bit. But again, 70s comics. You got to just run with the tropes of the time. Any more downs?
We've already talked about them. It's the Leprechauns. The writers just couldn't help themselves, could they? They saw Ireland in the brief and just went to town. At least they don't look like your stereotypical leprechaun, but they still look like the jockeys from that Simpsons episode.
Oh my God.
They're like, when these guys rocked up in issue 2, taking away Nightcrawler, you only see 2 of them in the shadows, and you can sort of make out some pointed features and stuff. I was looking at them being like, they look kind of like elfy, but surely it's not that. They're just going to be like some kind of dudes. But the reveal of issue 3, flat out with Nightcrawler being carried by multiple tiny little leprechauns, was just this really should be an X, because like I can't say it disappointed me.
Okay, you twisted my arm. I'm dipping into my X's right now to talk about the Leprechauns.
Let's do it.
Because is this a down? Is this an X? I don't know. No one is surprised enough to hear about Sean owning a castle. No. I have infinite questions about the upbringing Sean must have had in the castle, because from what I can gather, this is what I'm trying to piece together. Him and his cousin, raised by Eamon O'Donnell, and surrounded by the families, the little ones, and he reminisces over, I rescued many maidens and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, it is upbringing in the castle.
Yeah.
But who raised him? Does he have parents?
The Leprechauns did.
That's what it seems like. It's Eamon and a bunch of families of leprechauns raising 2 boys, 1 master criminal, and 1 who becomes an Interpol agent, and they just don't bring this up in their outside lives at all. It's just a place where they grew up that has had no bearing on their life. They just went on to have completely normal lives, despite the fact they grew up in a Norman castle surrounded by leprechauns, playing with swords and axes 24/7.
I mean, Black Tom, arguable normal life given his appearance, but relatively Banshee.
I've seen dudes with that mustache.
Okay, the facial hair is a whole thing. But
I don't know. You ever been to like Games Workshop?
Yeah. Yeah. I have, in fact.
People look like that.
Yeah. The fact that back a few issues ago, we were talking about how beautiful it is that Banshee talks about not having a home to go to and how nice it would be to belong and stay with the X-Men. His poor leprechaun family back at home being like, what are we, chopped liver? You clearly had great times being the lord of a castle.
What was it you said when we were texting about this? Like, just Banshee getting bullied for being, like, normal height by the leprechauns?
Yeah, that's it, because they outnumber him. If they were raised like around him, he probably would have been the huge lumbering freak.
Don't hit your head on the door. We've dipped in the X's early. we're getting in the X's. Let's do it for real. No leprechaun talk, maybe a little leprechaun talk.
We've already talked about Logan wearing his little dress-up outfit to give flowers to Jean Grey. It's one of my favorite little old-school tropes when a character gets like dressed up in their little fancy outfit to tell the girl they like their feelings.
Real Millhouse.
Real Millhouse. Real Mo.
Oh, his little bouquet of posies.
Wolverine somehow not thinking that her very serious boyfriend who cares a lot about her might already be at the hospital, and he has a moment where he throws his flowers in the bin because he's upset. And when he does this, Wolverine gets roasted by the narrator text saying, "You really should have expected Jean's friends to stay close to her. Or maybe you shouldn't have. After all, you never had any friends."
Oh my God.
Claremont, ruthless.
Him rocking up and everyone's already there is just like such a sitcom moment. And it's just like, yeah, it's like showing a Moe or a Millhouse type character. But I don't feel sorry for him because him saying he's hot and bothered by a frail is like weird as hell.
Nah, and he's like, and Wolverine, what Wolverine wants, Wolverine gets. It's like, all right, settle down, buddy.
Yeah, but like I've said previously, like there's this little crush kind of storyline now.
Yeah.
But it's really like, in my memory, it's the show that really makes that love triangle a thing.
For sure.
And then it gets picked up by the movies.
Yeah.
And it really seems like the 90s show is all the research they did for the movies.
Definitely. They are pushing the Wolverine-Jean love triangle so hard to the point that they backbench Slim for like 2 of the movies.
And it's like, Logan in these old issues is never, even in the 90s cartoon, he's not a serious, like, interest to Jean, is he? He's there. He's some weird older guy who's being creepy towards her.
Yeah.
And it's like when those movies come in and they start to make him, oh, he's Hugh Jackman and Jean Grey, Famke Jensen's like a little bit interested. The comics kind of really start to pick it up there and they like start a relationship in the 2000s, but I just don't think it's that much of a thing before that.
Yeah,
like,
and it all
like it's a thing, but it's not.
Yeah, and it all stems from that moment in the previous episode where we talked about Jean stands up to Logan and says, "No, I'm doing this thing. You're not going to stand in my way." But that clearly kicks off his like little interest in her.
Like, you know, in Star Wars where Han's like, "Oh, don't let him kill her. I'm just starting to like her." Is it that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's like, oh my God, have I made a Star Wars reference in every episode?
I think you have. I think you've outed yourself as a Star Wars fan.
Oh my God, I was trying so hard to hide it since I got hot.
Hey, plenty of hot people like and are in Star Wars.
Yeah, but it's, you know, I always used to joke that Star Wars is like dysphoria inducing because, you know, like when I was like in the closet, how many like Star Wars mugs and socks and things I got as presents.
God,
so
same.
It's like, okay, I like watching Star Wars. There, I said it.
Yeah.
But if you get me a Star Wars present, you're giving me dysphoria, and there's a reason that my Timothy Zahn novels are in the garage.
Oh, yeah. See, the fact that you had novels is why you got upgraded to getting mugs. Do people deal with this anymore? It feels like mugs aren't that much of a gift anymore. But back in the day, if you showed the slightest interest in any franchise, you were getting a mug as a present.
Seanny, I never talk about my job on the podcast, but I am a primary school teacher by day.
No.
I'm getting mugs.
You are stocked with mugs.
And if you're short on mugs, hit your girl up. All right, I got next for you.
Gimme.
It's seemingly a thing in X-Men comics that if you're related to another mutant, your powers can't hurt them. You're immune. It's like familial immunity. Scott can't hurt Alex as much as I wish he could.
But he punches him in the face.
Yeah,
I guess
his
that is.
powers
They
can't
talked about that, and he can punch. They can punch each other in the face.
He should be fine though, because his optic beams are punches. They're not lasers. They're punches.
That's true. As we've established, they are force. They are not heat.
We're not going to get into the punch dimension of it all.
As much as we want to.
As much as we want to. Look up the punch dimension memes. Sean and Tom can't hurt each other. But the punch to the jaw makes another appearance.
What is Black Tom's power? He has a stick that shoots magic.
You're never going to guess that it is that he can control plants and like plant force from the earth or something.
And they didn't think to sprinkle a little bit of that in here?
Now,
Oh, okay.
is it earth energy maybe? I don't let's Google that.
Okay.
It's hard to explain exactly what he does, but he has like a connection with the earth and plants and can control nature.
Okay.
Get into that X, girl.
Okay, ever since Count Nefaria left us, I've had a flamboyant villain hole in my heart, and luckily, Black Tom Cassidy has stepped up to fill the void. Now,
Girl, we got to talk about your standards.
and
We got to get you some self-esteem.
this is I don't want to be friends with these people. They're insane weirdos, but something about them existing is just makes me so happy to see. Like,
So it's not for the boyfriend draft.
Get out of here.
I'm sorry, I'm being naughty now.
No, you're allowed. It's making for good content. But kissing that beard, get out of here. I called Nefaria a wizard, but he's way more of a magician compared to like Tom's wizard levels. And just like Nefaria, I'm a little confused by Tom's whole vibe. You've just explained to me that he gets his power from Earth, whatever. That he's just like, yeah, cool. I'm rocking my old school medieval wizard aesthetic, but I also got my future laboratory, my laser cannons mounted into the castle walls, and my neuronic torture glove. I have no idea where he's coming from, and I already want him to come back because I have so many questions I know aren't even going to get answered.
None of them will get answered, but we'll see him plenty.
This is why this is an X, because it sounds like I'm upset. I've relished reading all of these pages because I'm just like, what the am I reading here, and why must I turn the next page immediately?
I'm into the tonal whiplash.
Me too. I've come to fully embrace it now.
I'm a glutton for it.
Also, if him and Banshee are cousins that were raised in the castle together, why isn't he speaking with an Irish accent?
Oh my God, he isn't.
They make it very clear whenever someone is speaking with an accent in these comics, and he says nothing. No foin, no boyo, no yer.
He hates Banshee so much, he's let his roots go.
No, he's repressed his identity.
That's a plant pun.
I missed it. Oh, God. Thank you for explaining it to me.
His roots.
That would have killed me in the edit if I had have realized that.
I think we got to talk about the Jean Grey panel. That one panel, the foreboding, dead-eyed Jean Grey with green fuzz around her saying, "How would you feel if you died and brought yourself back to life?" It's meant to symbolize big things coming. But considering the stakes of what we're coming from, one panel while the rest of the crew is like gallivanting around Ireland being like, tee-hee-hee, we're hanging around with leprechauns.
Yes. I did find myself almost immediately going like, can we check back in on whatever was happening over there, please?
I'd like to know more. I had fun with the leprechauns, but we need some Phoenix content.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jean at some point, apparently before space, has moved in with Misty Knight, who is a character from Power Man and Iron Fist. Power Man's Luke Cage.
Oh, cool.
Which Claremont, I think, was also writing at the time.
Right.
And, I hate Chuck, but her calling him rude for not saying hello when he clearly needs to talk about something really urgent.
Oh my God. He rushes into the room, said, "Scott, it's urgent that I speak with you immediately. Come on, let's go." And Jean says like, "Oh, in the meantime, why don't you meet my roommate, Professor?" What meantime?
Like, it's just, we're just trying to get this cameo in. I just want to show that, we can move a couple of copies of Power Man and Iron Fist off the shelf. It's explicitly saying that Jean died and brought herself back to life. We want to know more.
Yes. Please. No, you don't need to. You don't need to get anything else about Jean in these episodes. We've got leprechauns to look at.
I've pillaged all my exes in the other bits, so I'm tapped.
Okay, I have one more. So I talked about how Wolverine got roasted by Claremont, saying he had no friends. Claremont has one more roast in him, and it's during Storm's backstory yet again. Her and her parents are watching a bombing raid happen, but the plane is heading straight for them. Storm's dad jumps in front of him and says, "Get down, I'll keep you safe." And the next panel is a plane smashing into their house. And the narration panel during this plane crash says, "Liar." He's not lying that he'll keep them safe.
A father's heroic sacrifice for his family, and he needs to be absolutely roasted for it.
Oh
Just
my gosh.
Absolutely, like, scolded by Claire. Like, let the man die heroically to save his wife and child.
We love him. I want to say I'm a huge Chris Claremont fan, and he is...
I would say I enjoy him. Maybe I don't love him.
Well, I'm loving what I'm reading so far. Maybe he'll get compared to other writers in the future. Until then, that's why they're in my X's, because I can't help but enjoy them just a little bit.
That's it. That's exactly it. Is that a wrap on X-Men 101 to 103?
Damn, I think it might be.
Oh my God. Things got a bit crazy, girl, in those 3 issues.
Cuckoo bananas.
I am only assigning us 2 issues for our next episode.
Wow, okay. What are we in for?
We're in for X-Men 104 and 105. This is going to kick off a bit of a chain of events that are going to set up a few future storylines. So, little light reading while I'm away in Tasmania.
Yeah, you're going to do your reading while you're on holiday?
I'm going to have my feet hanging off the balcony, doing my notes on my little iPad like the iPad baby I am.
Well, that's a cute image.
Thank you, Flapscans. That is a wrap on this week's issue of the X-Men, the next stage in human evolution. 2 trans women exploring the X-Men. We'll see you next time. Mwah!
I think we're pretty ready for the clap. What do you reckon? We have a little go?
Are you going to mess with me?
No, I'm not going to mess with you, because guess what, Beth? You get to do the countdown this time.
No!
I think you're ready for it.
Are you just doing this for content?
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
I'm into it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
I also like your style that you did the 1, 2, 3 clap rather than the 3, 2, 1. I think that is what made it the most successful one yet.
I'm taking claps to strange and safe new places. That's what makes it strange, that we're playing it safe.